What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC reality check, and you don't see my pretty sexy face in the gimmick hat, so you know I'm not alone. We're talking NXT. Once again, we're talking about the A show, the land of black and gold, so obviously we've got Jake, who's very white.
It is Black History Month, though, so...
Black and Gold History Month?
There we go, black and gold.
At least Bianca Belair's on the main roster now, it's fine.
At least you're not pushing a t-shirt.
Oh, we're going to start the Cody jokes nice and early, aren't we? Vengeance Day.
Should have been St. Valentine's Day Massacre. I'm sorry. Vengeance Day isn't bad. It's certainly not bad, but not what I was hoping for.
I don't mind it.
It doesn't take away from it all. It doesn't damage the show. You know, some people get so bent out of shape for these things, and that's just insultingly nauseating when that happens. But this is, you know, a simple thing. It's a decent name.
It's better
it's
than
the same with everybody. Everybody wants the nostalgia kick.
You know, because they can't. We said this a while ago, but because they can't move around anywhere, and it's not going to be like Takeover Toronto, Takeover Chicago, Takeover whatever. I'd much prefer this rather than just a number. To be perfectly honest with you, I know they're.
Yeah, I like the. You know, I always like the idea of numbers. Names instead of numbers. You know, that I was all about. I preferred that. I like it when it was, you know, Brooklyn, and then it was like Brooklyn 2. It was like, all right, maybe we can get something instead of, you know, like Brooklyn the Revenge. You know, there's got to be something better there. But point is, because then you can think back. When I think back, like Brooklyn 2, I'm like, wait, is that 1 or 2? But when you say, you know, Halloween Havoc, I'm like, all right, I can immediately go and picture what's going on because it's specific. I have a harder time with numbers. I do the same thing with WrestleManias too. So. Well,
this is the thing. This is the rumor that I heard back when we had like Takeover 25 and Takeover 30 was that Triple H wanted to throw the numbers in like every 5 shows, like 25, 30, 35, because he didn't like Vince's move of taking the numbers out of the WrestleMania logos. So
yeah, I don't want to take the numbers out entirely, but I like it when it was like, when they had like little taglines or something afterwards so you can remember. You know, it wasn't in the actual title, but it was like, you know, WrestleMania 25 was the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, even though it wasn't. But you know,
yeah, they don't know how anniversaries work. But what you're talking about is more of an in your house style. Like it was in your house, yes. Beware of dog. In your house, good friends, better enemies.
Exactly, something to go ahead and individually identify what you're watching.
So if it was NXT Takeover in your house Vengeance Day.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it that much. Like just Takeover Vengeance Day works. You know, that's good enough for me. I like that. Takeover
I did hear the thought was thrown around on Twitter when it was first announced because a lot of people initially pulled back. I loved it for reasons that you and I talked about at the time. The idea that they might have done St. Valentine's Day Massacre, but using Massacre in a time where a lot of people are dying at the moment because of the ongoing
I get the
situation.
sentiment behind it. People having,
I can buy that. It's still a little.
That's why Vengeance Day. Vengeance is still, you know, with the theme, it fits. That's
fine. Why I like that it's Vengeance Day, because it is still a wink and a nod to the fact that it's Valentine's Day. So they couldn't quite do it,
so
but they still kind of did it.
Perfect. You know,
you get the old classic V in there too. The classic V of Vengeance reminds me of we always talk about the swinging blades on the stage for Backlash. So it does have a little bit of what they're trying to capture. Like it's still their own spin, but it's like them bringing back War Games. They didn't just bring back War Games and say, "Hey, we're doing it now." Like they made their own version of it.
Yeah, exactly.
With this, I think they've
changed things around to make it their own.
Like that's what I'm saying. They did Halloween Havoc, but they didn't make it a pay-per-view. They made it an elevated Wednesday night, which worked out good.
It worked out great. It was one of the best for them. I mean, the ratings today are really upsetting. I was greatly disappointed with the ratings. And
God damn, dude.
Especially because NXT, to me, had the better show last night, but I know what it is.
It's the counterculture argument.
Well, I mean, there's that's part of it. But I don't even, because AEW didn't do great. They had a lead, obviously, 200,000 over NXT, but it wasn't like it was this blow-away in the sense of like 1 million to 500,000 kind of idea. And sadly, you know, they both lost to everything that was going on with news and the impeachment trial and all that lovely nonsense.
The kangaroo court?
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey,
we could talk about Gina Carano if you want to get me really pissed off.
God. That's a whole nother show in itself.
Eventually, you and I are going to do a podcast that's not specifically about wrestling, and it's all going to be about identity politics, and then I'm going to get kicked off YouTube. That's how that's going to go down.
Funny enough, you're going to be joining me for a one-off, so soon enough I'll give you more details. But coming to Joe's Patreon, yeah, it'll be good.
Nice.
But in any event, it's just been, New Year's Smash drew like 662, I think it was, off the top of my head, somewhere around there, and that wasn't as big as I thought AEW was going to get. But NXT brought in like 550 the same week, so they still lost by 100,000. Both ways, I want both shows to get more. AEW had the better show the week before. This week, NXT had the better show, but the thing is, people don't care for the Dusty Classic, I feel like, as much, especially this time with there not being fans. That is obviously hurting wrestling in general, but I think it's really hurting the Classic because you don't have that intensity and there's no real like sense of rivalry or story there. The teams they threw together don't really feel all that special this time. Like the tag teams are good, but we don't have that one huge outlier this time because Tommaso and Thatcher were feuding with each other and then teaming them up. It just kind of felt odd. They're doing well together, but I just don't feel like there's that one major standout as they usually have.
See, and it's funny that you mentioned Ciampa and Thatcher, because one of the things I was going to say, because I really did like the way this Classic came about. Yeah, the atmosphere isn't there because the fans aren't there and whatever, but I do like that for once they sort of steered away from what they typically do, and they always have that one sort of oddball team, and they make it to the finals. We talked about, the Joe and Balor thing, the Broserweights, and the Ricochet and Black, and not to say that any of those were bad, but they actually nutted up a little bit and threw two proper teams in the final. And for the women, it's a little bit different. For the women's tag team wrestling is still a relatively new thing in WWE, but we've still got two teams that I like, and there's some story there. I do have to keep to our typical tradition, though, of starting off the preview with stuff that's not on the show that we're previewing.
Yeah. We always have to go there, but it's a great way to look forward to the future.
It is, and we usually end up talking about the one match that's happening the week after. And I intentionally left this, and I intentionally said in my review I was going to leave it until we got a chance to discuss it, because I thought it was more discussion-worthy. What do you think of the Cross Escobar thing?
I'm very excited with what they've done so far. It takes Cross away from the title picture for now, but keeps him in the forefront of your mind. He's still being used, and he looks like a total badass. No fear. Goes into Escobar's ring at this point, because it is Escobar. Well, Legado del Fantasma's ring, essentially. But Escobar's the leader, so that works in saying.
Yeah.
And he goes ahead, and he basically walked into his house, kicked open his front door and slapped him. That's what Cross has done. He comes in and he says, you're going to be giving out TikTok, time's up. That's the essentiality.
I'm giving you the gift of time.
Yes. Everything he said, it was like, his words were poetry. It flowed well. There was an intensity and how they've built since then. I'm very excited for this. It's one of the things where it's like, all right, don't oversell me on it, though. I don't want to see too much more from them till we get to the match. Kind of keep it.
Right, they had the face-off last week.
Yes.
They confirmed it for next week, this week,
yep.
And then we're getting it next week. I will say
they did it perfectly, and I'm like, thankfully we don't have to have this long and arduous wait, or where they did it with, quite a few things, like the AEW, again, not to sound negative, but we've been saying it with Sting. We've seen him and Team Taz with Darby on his side. They've been arguing for weeks, and we've still got a couple more weeks to go. Next week, we're getting another rundown of the street fight.
And next week, Sting will be here, and then he'll leave.
And he's going to talk as he brings a blizzard.
Maybe
he's going to talk about the street fight. Okay, maybe.
Okay, I like the music that they gave him, but the fact that they gave him the Lame of Thrones friggin' shit from that show. It's terrible.
The blizzard, the night of winter is coming, was incredible because it was so unexpected. It fit with the theme. It just made sense, and it was epic. I like I said, I'm not even the biggest Sting fan, but I rewatched that intro and their debut, I should say, over a dozen times on YouTube, without exaggeration. I was so enamored by that. It was really captivating. It was just such a nostalgia-driven moment. Then keeping the snow after that, I was like, it's a cool effect because no one has snow, I guess, but it doesn't really go with the Sting character. It doesn't fit with anything in the story. It doesn't fit with him. And like you said, the Titantron thing just went with the Winter is Coming theme. They just kept it. So yeah. I don't know. I love the theme song though. The song is fantastic.
I think it's the closest any company has come to the theme, like the old orchestral theme that he had in WCW, which I really liked. I was really bummed when they gave him new music when he came to WWE.
I didn't like the WWE theme that much either. The dun, it was very.
You know what kills
dramatic,
me though is before he came into the WWE, they put him into the WWE game. And in the WWE game commercial, there was an orchestra playing his WCW music.
Yeah, his original theme. I remember that. I remember when they had, because everyone's like, "Oh, Sting's coming back to wrestle." And they were like, "No, it's just for the video game."
And it was weird. And he fought in the day people. And everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was
no,
it.
But the point is that what they've done here so far hasn't been dragged and drawn out and completely, beaten up. They started a story. They advertise the story, and we're going to
kick
get
it off.
The match. Perfect. And there's more to come with this, and I can't wait to see, where Scarlett plays into this. Because she's going to have a role at some point.
And see, what I love about this, and everything you've said is absolutely true, by the way. What I love about this is so much simpler than all the amazing true stuff that you just laid out. I just love that it takes the Cruiserweight champion and proves that the cruiserweights don't exist in a bubble.
That's a damn great point. Not only are they not in a bubble, but they get to go up against the former NXT champion who didn't lose his title.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of funny because Escobar does have a title, and obviously his character is going to think, well, mine's the most important title in the company. So he did that promo like 3 or 4 weeks ago, running down all the champions.
Yeah, and which was great, which built into this, that was like the starting point. That laid the foundation for Cross to come in and say, oh, this is what you think of us. You're not the greatest. He just didn't have to say those words, but we know that's where it was stemming from.
But my point in that being is he ran down all the current champions. He ran down Gargano, obviously ran down Balor, the tag champs, whatever. And then he just stuck in Cross, who not that long ago had to hand over his title. So there's that little extra, what do you want to call it, a little extra dig under the skin. But no, I love the idea that it means that the Cruiserweights are part of the roster. They're not just a separate sideshow to fill a segment.
Yeah, once they took that to NXT away from 205 Live, it became something to look out for.
Right, especially when you consider there are guys in the mid card of NXT that could be cruiserweights. They're just designated as not being. Like Gargano,
Leo Rush just won the MLW and AAA title to merge them both under MLW's brand.
There you go.
So congrats to him. And he was another one that I really was a fan of with the cruiserweight title.
Wait a minute, wasn't Leo Rush the North American champion not too long ago? I'm being a dick.
I don't know. Oh, wait, that was Leon Ruff. Oh, sorry.
You've never seen the two of them in the same place, though. Just saying.
Not at the same time.
It must be February.
It must be. Yeah, boy. Shut up, Flavor Flav. You're going to get me in trouble.
Okay, so I'm going to throw something else at you.
Yes.
We talked about what it could be for months and months and months, and then Xia Li came back.
Yes,
and then
like
we got I love Xia Li, but that's not even where I'm going. The animated mythology of Tian Cha.
Yeah, this is a really, really interesting and unique concept. And now you obviously have, Team Casey going on and saying how, you've changed so much, and everything, the way they've done it just fits so well. It's really compelling and interesting. It's just something unorthodox that you don't see in wrestling. And that's, twice now you see in their cruiserweights, team up against a former champion, and then now we're talking about, including a
mythical
Eastern,
character,
mythical,
1,000-year-old chick that got her powers from fighting a dragon.
Yeah, historical, fantastical, fantasy thing. It's different. I'll give you that much.
And this is the thing. I love the different, right? Because I'm going to sort of branch this off a little bit. The NXT is always in a weird place with the critics, and obviously with the ratings where they are right now, the critics are coming out en masse. but it's one of those, either they do just a straight wrestling show and they get accused of being boring, or they go off and try to do something different and they get mocked for it. It's the NXT equivalent of The Fiend or Alexa Bliss or whatever.
Because, I mean, look what they did with Cameron Grimes that we both really enjoyed. They've had a great bit of character work with Shotzi and Ember, with them teaming. You know, they've done really, really well.
I hope that if they're going to go with this ridiculous, like, Mortal Kombat within NXT, I hope they go as ridiculous with it as they possibly can.
I would like to say that would be ideal, but
I just don't know if Boa's ever actually going to wrestle.
I don't think so.
I think he's like a bouncer character. Like I said it in my review last night, which will be last night because it played today and this will play tomorrow, and time travel is a thing.
Terminator timeline.
Boa came in a couple years ago into the PC. They brought him out on NXT like twice, basically to be like, hey, we signed a Chinese guy, and then he disappeared.
Yeah.
But right now you got Tian Sha, who's doing this like big overseer mentor character, and you got Boa, who's playing this sort of right hand of that character, and then you got Xia Li, who's wrestling. You can't have a 3-person act where only one of them wrestles.
Yeah, no.
That will get weird to write around eventually. But they're starting a feud with a tag team, which Catanzaro and Carter, I'm bummed that they sort of got eliminated from the Dusty, but at least they're going into something else that has had a decent amount of focus on it. So layering, again, when you have a women's division like this, or a women's division at all, AEW, you can do shit like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Even Fox Sports has a big, obviously because of SmackDown, but it's just cool to see them advertising NXT on their website. It's NXT Takeover Vengeance Day, and they have a huge article talking about, Finn and Dunn and everything there, and they go, it's nice to see them, give NXT that shine as well.
I will say, I don't follow any, USA Network social media, but I do follow the WWE on Fox social media thing.
Yeah, because they're just on top of their game.
They're on top of the game, and they go out of their way to push what's going on the two shows that are on a different network, and I think that's way more than I would have predicted when they first moved. I thought there would have been a big tug of war, a big who's the big swinging dick on campus type thing, but it does. At least from Fox's side, it doesn't seem that way at all.
No, but they really do go ahead and, they try and cover everything.
All right.
Everything under the WWE umbrella. So, yeah, I'm excited with this bit of different storytelling. It certainly is very, very interesting. And with everything else going on in NXT, I mean, they had a lot of storytelling last night as compared to the week before. Problem is, like I said, it's dual-fold. If you're not excited about the Dusty Classic, you're really, just stuffed with everything with the Classic at this point. I mean, you've got it on both sides, the men's and the women's. So having the women's, it's dual-fold. That if you're really not about the tag team stuff or the tournament, then you're doubly going to hate it because that took up, a good portion of the show.
And see, here's my thing, right? I don't know about you. I know you guys talked about this a little bit during your AEW review. I'm not I'm not one that will say, number one, we need to focus on tag team wrestling. Because WWE doesn't, clearly NXT doesn't, clearly AEW does. Let's give them the credit where it's due, right? But I think the fact that they don't makes the Dusty Classic unique for the people that do like it, and it makes it just different enough that even if you don't like it, in a couple of weeks it's going to be gone and we're going to be back to status quo where the main singles men and the main singles women are going to sort of be the forefront of the show. Yeah. So I think by virtue of the fact that it sort of exists over a couple of weeks and goes away, it doesn't lose its specialness because the rest of the time that's a division that gets so little attention that you can say, hey, this is where we're going to try and do some tag team stuff. But in the process, we brought in MSK from Impact. We brought in the Grizzled Young Veterans from the other NXT, I say in tight air quotes. Yeah. It seems like Imperium's coming back. And like I say, there's no hodgepodge team in the final this year. No. Maybe there will be some lingering effects this time around. Maybe they are.
That's what I'm saying. There wasn't two fan favorites that got together to team up this time, or two top heels, faces, however you want to say it. We didn't have that incredible pair-up team. I guess the closest that came to it, like I said, is Ciampa and Thatcher. But and then, like I said as well, Wednesday we had 3 Dusty matches, the classic matches. So if I understand why people, if you're not about the classic, it's a lot. And then they're also booking towards the pay-per-view heavily. So your champion is just doing a stare down with Dunn, which is epic, no doubt, but we haven't gotten a lot from Finn or Pete Dunne. So, we've gotten a lot of story to build for the match, no doubt. But people want action too, and like you said, it's hard to find that balance. So, I did appreciate the story that they did tell. That we mentioned before with Grimes, and funny enough, that that's one of the things you want to discuss. He actually made a ton of money. He really bet on AMC when it was around $13. He bought a ton of stocks apparently, and in this GameStop stonks craze, that he rode it to the moon and sold when it was over hundreds of dollars higher, so he made a ton of money. Now, he's not at Elon Musk level, obviously, but this report from Wrestling Observer, Brian Alvarez, is saying that it's legitimate. He really did earn a ton of money in the stock market, so that's hilarious. I love his character. It's a nice little addition to an already quirky and unique character, but this is not something that would work on the main roster at all, I think.
See, here's the thing, and we said this back around the time of Halloween Havoc. I don't particularly like Cameron Grimes regularly, but they've seemed to be able to find individual, unique situations to put him in that I'll be like, okay, his type of banter will work in that. They put him in the haunted house. The haunted house is silly. He's also silly. That works. This, basically, I equated it to he's NXT's version of the Beverly Hillbillies.
That in a bit of a Eugene character as well. It kind of reminds me of that comic. Well, in the sense of a comic relief, not mentally handicapped, but he's not retarded. I swear, it's just he's Southern, folks. He's Southern. Oh,
you know what I want, and we're going to talk about the women's tag titles in a second, and that'll be a much more serious conversation because he's got so much money. I would love to see him buy a ticket to WrestleMania. And he hops the rail, and he wins the 24/7 title off of Truth.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
How good would that be?
And bring it to NXT and let them play around with it in NXT for a while. Yeah. Get it off of Raw and have NXT have some fun with it for a while, because I'm sure they could tell some really funny stories with that. I would like to see Grimes walk around with a shit ton of money and go out to the ring and pick a tag team that's a face team, or actually it'd be probably better with a heel team. But he goes out there and like even the tag champs, Oney Lorcan, he's like, oh, here, Birch, I want you two to fight each other. Well, we're not going to fight each other.
They throw some money at him.
Here's $100,000. Fight each other, and now they start beating the hell out of each other.
If you got a bunch of money, there's nothing to stop you from keeping on buying tickets. And the whole thing is, if he showed up in the Thunderdome, he'd be the only.
Oh God.
He'd be the only fan that wasn't digital. So he'd stick out like a sore thumb. And I want him to pick up the 24/7 title, and then, like a joking version of Escobar, he thinks he's the most important champion in the company, and he just keeps on challenging people to champion versus champion matches. So he steps up to Drew, and he steps up to Lashley, and he steps up to Big E, and he steps up to fucking Roman Reigns, and says, "Hey, let's have a title versus title." We're booking ourselves into a shoot here.
We are, but think about how much fun that would be. But see, they don't ever want to have those type of, it seems, because they it sounds so hypocritically ridiculous, but it's not. I think you understand, especially with Vince, he doesn't, but he does. He takes himself so serious that he would scoff at that, but then he gets the dumbest, craziest angles out of him ever. So it's very.
At the first, when things open up again, when the ongoing global situation is a thing of the past and they're actually able to have house shows again, how much you want to bet they do a 30-minute Iron Man match between Cameron Grimes and R-Truth for the 24/7 title? Oh fuck! Let's talk about some real shit. We're gonna have to sort of fireball these a little bit because you're a busy guy and you're in high demand. Dusty Classic for the men: MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans. I hate to be the clinical analyst guy here, but your current champions are heels. It's going to be the faces, and MSK have been the story of this tournament.
They have been. They debuted in the tournament. It's very evidently obvious, which isn't always the case for these Dusty Classics. That's a joke. They're usually pretty easy to pick the winners. But with this year was the first time that I wasn't entirely sure. MSK was debuting, but I'm like, maybe they do something with Undisputed Era. The Way could really tell a good story, but Johnny is currently the North American champion, so that's a bit of a. Well, do they go with Legato? Do they?
I wanted it to come down to The Way versus MSK.
Yeah,
but
that would have been.
When they threw in the oddball team after the fight pit, and the fight pit was good. I liked the fight pit, but
I did as well.
When they threw in the oddball team, I'm like, oh, they only throw in the oddball team to make it one half of the final, but they didn't this year.
No,
and they've got Grizzled Young Veterans, and they've spent a lot of time underlining that Grizzled Young Veterans were the penultimate losers last year because they went to the finals and lost.
Yeah, so they're really trying to sell that, hey, these guys busted their ass, didn't make it, but now they're going to go ahead and they want to accomplish, what they didn't before. I like that story.
I think the other way. This is one of those things where I'm looking like ahead a year, which I probably shouldn't do because WWE never does. I think MSK wins this year, and proactively, I think Grizzled Young Veterans are your winners next year.
Ooh,
I think because they're hitting it over the head so much this year, I think they're going to play, as cliche as it sounds, I think they're going to play up the third time's the charm with Grizzled Young Veterans next year. And you know what? I'm okay with that because you could see them, give them a solid year on main roster NXT of trying to get the titles and falling short and then going and like wrecking somebody, trying to get it again, just falling short and wrecking somebody, and then like even if they're not in the tournament next year, like taking out a team and like bulldozing their way through next year and having that third time's the charm moment.
And it doesn't take much, like you said, to really get to that point again. They could do that pretty easily.
I'm with MSK, but I'm considering the amount of people on this card that I like, there is a good chance that could be the match of the night.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Now, where my heart goes is to the Women's Dusty Classic, and it's Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez taking on my girl Shotzi and Ember Moon.
See, now, originally, in the very beginning, I was like, oh, I want to see Shotzi and Ember. Remember I had mentioned to you,
yep.
They were the ones that I really liked, but if I had to pick anybody, it'd be Dakota and Raquel because of how much I really like Dakota Kai, and I'm going against you. I would like to see either team win here. That's the thing. I'm not going to be disappointed. As where I wouldn't be disappointed, but I would kind of not enjoy a Grizzled Young Vets win as much as I would MSK winning. Here, no matter who walks away, so long as it's a great match, I'm all for it. I don't really think they can do much to mess this up, honestly. They've really proven themselves time and time again to be that damn awesome and excellent, so... The women have earned those rights in spades to be called, the best division in wrestling today.
Yep.
Shotzi hasn't disappointed. Ember Moon has been great since returning to NXT. Dakota Kai still has one of the best women's matches in NXT to this point, and Raquel has been really impressive the past 6 months. She's, certainly gained something from Rhea Ripley. Working with her, that really elevated her character. And then going from there, it only got better as she teamed with Dakota Kai more. So I'm gonna pick Dakota Kai and Raquel, but
it's almost like we've done a lot of content recently on the NXT Women's Division.
You would guess so, but hey, it's only deserving.
It's not very often that you and I disagree. I am going to disagree with you on this because I think Ember Moon and Shotzi need to win this as much as Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez need to lose this.
Okay.
Because this loss, to me, if you're booking it, if you're doing it in my head, right, Raquel Gonzalez is getting a singles push soon. We can all see it coming. Now, she's the Diesel in their Shawn Michaels and Diesel relationship, so she's not going to be the big main star and have Dakota Kai suddenly be her sidekick. So I think she tries to go it off on her own, and like they blame each other for the loss. Neither one of them turns face, but they part ways from each other.
They're both still heels, but they just blame each other.
Yeah, sort of a Sammy Guevara situation, if you will.
All right. Well, Sammy ended up turning face off of that, but
maybe, I don't know. I'm interested.
That's their goal with him. He's turning face, but I get your point. So
that's fine. But here's the thing as well, though, as well as Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai work together, we know that if there's an actual tag team there, the tag team is Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox.
Oh, yeah.
I am, after the third or fourth injury in Tegan Nox's NXT career, I want her to come back pissed off. I want a heel team of Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox to go for those titles eventually.
That would be awesome.
But, look at because we did get it confirmed this week on NXT that the winner of this will actually go for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, which are right now held by Nia Jax and her broken asshole. And
hole!
And here's the thing again, Shayna Baszler needs to be going off and kicking ass in singles shit. Nia Jax needs to be off all of our TVs unless she's falling on her big fat ass some more.
Yeah, pretty much.
So how cathartic would it be? And I said it last night on the review, and I'm saying it again here now. Whoever wins the Dusty Classic needs to cash in that opportunity at WrestleMania so that NXT is represented in some way, shape, or form at WrestleMania. How cathartic would it be seeing Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart take those titles off of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax? Again, causing them to...
WrestleMania.
At WrestleMania. So not
in front of a crowd.
Not only are they in front of a crowd, fan favorites, they are throwing so much into this idea of them as a tag team. I'm surprised.
And we know that New York's allowing 10% capacity already.
Yep.
So, we could see up to at least a 10,000 event for Mania.
Yep.
They're saying much more, but that's just New York. Obviously, Florida's different. We're hearing 30,000 a night for there, but still, like you said, so we'll have it in front of people, which is amazing.
Yep.
And then, on top of it, to go ahead and have
bring those belts to NXT.
Yeah. Now the belts come to NXT, so
put them on some black straps. Call them the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, and we keep hearing how WWE is weighing the benefits of including matches for NXT at WrestleMania as well, because they said Triple H made a great point. He's like, I just think it balances out. I love them being a part of WrestleMania. NXT gets to be part of the biggest stage in the game and the biggest spectacle.
I mean, that's why Edge is going to pick the NXT Championship.
I would love it if that happened.
But I mean, think about that.
Because
simply just Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart winning those titles. It sets Raquel Gonzalez's singles thing in motion. It sets Shayna Baszler's singles thing in motion. It gives all kinds of new opportunities to Dakota Kai and their direction. And those two, I'm going to keep beating the drum for this, because from the moment I saw them come out as a tag team, they are all in on being a tag team.
Oh yeah, they're supporting each other.
It comes down to the simple bit of it. Like, you can pick and choose and all you want, right? I can't think of even the words I want to use right now. We can do all of our analysis. We can pick things apart. We can get all into the nitty gritty of it. But if I have fun watching them and I can tell that they're having fun, I'm going to be behind them. And that's what the Ember and Shotzi team is.
When you know that they're legitimately working together and for each other, they care about this tag team working out. Like, you can tell that when you feel it. I mean, even Jericho and MJF, I get a feeling of that. You can tell they care about their work.
My comparison has always been this, right? But WrestleMania, I don't remember how many years ago it was now, everybody moaned and groaned and thought it was going to be super lame when they announced the mixed tag match between John Cena, Nikki Bella, The Miz, and Maurice, right? And I'm like, you know what?
I didn't see why people got so bent out of shape.
It doesn't hurt my feelings. You know what? I looked at it and I'm like, could I care? Like, if you don't care, you can go take a piss. I'll watch it because it'll probably be funny. But you know what? Like, there's four friends that are just going to go out to the ring and not take up too much time. They're not going to take up any, title space. They're just going to go out and have fun with their friends. If you can't enjoy that, then you can probably suck a dick.
Well, that's the thing, and it ended up being a damn good match. They did a good job. It was entertaining. The storyline was, obviously it's not super memorable, but Cena got engaged, but it was fun. It was enjoyable because you could tell they wanted to be a part of it. Yeah. And the build to get there, I thought, was pretty damn good. So.
And you know what? People will pick it apart because it's not 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome, but it wasn't supposed to be.
No, it wasn't.
You can never, as much as they tried to make the mixed match challenge a thing, you can never have a super, super serious mixed tag match because the construction of it is so convoluted to begin with that you really just can't do it. It almost has to be fun. That's why when they did the mixed match challenge, I was happy that they at least let them have some fun with it.
Yeah, thankfully, because there wasn't a lot of ways you could handle that.
And I will say, you have two feel-good moments on the bounce if you get MSK winning and then you get Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon winning.
Yeah, which is a great feel-good moment. You kind of sold me on your explanation.
I mean, chances are
might actually
nothing
have
that
you
I just
pick
said is
another
going to
prediction
happen.
later. No, but Shotzi winning, I mean, that's a great, and they could use that to build them to getting the women's tag title shot, like you said. That's a given for the winners, so that's big. I would love to see that happen.
But
at
now
Mania.
you see them bring those titles back to NXT. You've got the Gigi Dolan and Cara, whatever her name is, team that just joined NXT. You've got Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter there, obviously. As I've booked it now, the heel version of Kai and Nox. There's the Marina Shafir and the new chick Stark that debuted as a tag team. I don't know what happened to Jessamine Duke, but it is what it is.
They said something actually. Damn it! Now I can't remember off the top of my head about Jessamine. Shit. There was an update at one point. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was something about her not continuing at this point with some. I don't remember all the details. So
Cara Jade is the other one's name. The one
okay,
that's,
that was her name.
The one that's with Gigi Dolan.
Yeah. Which is what's her
Priscilla Kelly.
Priscilla Kelly. There we go.
And you know what? I saw them debut as a tag team. They are an actual tag team. They're being presented as a tag team, and they made their debut on 205 Live. I don't get that. I mean, I know they had a lot of matches.
Either.
They had a lot of matches.
I was really confused as to why they would debut them there, but
I mean, they debuted the Shotzi and Ember team on 205 as well. I mean,
right.
I guess the idea was maybe to get some eyes on 205, but it didn't work.
No, you know that's not going to be a success.
No.
Anyways, they had to have been aware of that.
You know what is a success, though?
What's that?
The Way.
Yes, they've been excellent and so much damn fun. Johnny, he hates wheels. He loves wheels.
He hates wheels and he's in a wheelchair.
When I ever saw that from you, I was dying laughing. He went ahead and really tried to, do all he could to get out of that match, but lo and behold.
And you know what I wouldn't have thought of until this week, because they haven't interacted a whole lot directly? The comedic timing between Johnny Gargano and William Regal.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have
Regal's
that.
Regal's always been good with that.
Regal's always been good with that, but I would say specifically those two. But I like the fact that after
that's what I'm saying. Regal's been good at it, and Johnny sells well with him, so they amplify one another. Their comedic chops are elevated by working together.
Here's what I want to say about this, right? Because I mean, I like Kushida. I really like in the middle of the match when he does the armbar driver, basically shoves the ball of your shoulder into the ground. I think that should be a finisher, personally. What I want to say about Johnny Gargano, I said this on the review. I'm gonna run it by you now. Johnny Gargano has what I call the Triple H effect, and it's not because he's in NXT and Triple H made NXT and rah. I've always used this comparison for Triple H, that he could come out at the beginning of the night with all his boys and chuck glow sticks all over the place and make all the crass jokes and be as DX as you want to be in the opening segment, and in the closing segment of the same night he could come out serious as you want to be, cave your head in with a sledgehammer, and both ends of that spectrum are completely believable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When you saw at the end of the night, after he tried to get out of the match, after the stuff with Loomis, which I don't really want to get into, and he had that last promo at the end of the night, and he sort of switched gears into Johnny Wrestling again, Johnny Takeover, and he said, you know what? It's all said and done. This is a takeover. Takeover is my house. There's a reason they call me Johnny Takeover. I love that he has that switch. Because I will take 99% completely dickhead, comedic, the way Johnny Gargano. As long as that other 1% is Johnny Takeover.
Oh, absolutely. You need both. Because they complement each other very well.
I'm really nervous that they're going to throw Loomis into this match somehow.
I hope not. But here's the thing, and I'm going to get heat for on this, but I've never been crazy about Kushida. I always kind of felt like he was a poor man's, Kenta that they were going for, and that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
And he made a great tweet the other day, and it was funny, but it's not that I don't care for him. It's just he feels so just like, here's a guy, New Japan, that nothing to really separate him from any other wrestler, or he doesn't have any distinguishing features. He's good in the ring, but obviously he's good in the ring. He's a great wrestler. Like, there's just nothing about him that's discernible from anybody else. He doesn't have any, great standout things about him.
See, really, I just like, when I say I like Kushida, right? Like, I don't follow New Japan. It's why I always make the 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome joke. But I know he's got a good following. I know that people were hyping him up to me before he came to WWE, and I do like what he does in the ring, and it's different enough. Like some of the submission stuff he was doing with Austin Theory, specifically when he had him in the double armbar and he started stomping his shoulder blades. Like, it's just modifications that are different enough that the match itself is interesting.
Exactly, because he's a guy. Seen.
He's not necessarily a character that I'm not against him, but he's not a character that I'm super invested in, but he's a guy that I really enjoy watching work. Now throw him in with Johnny Gargano, who can also work and who I am interested in, and that's a good mix to me.
Yeah, I mean, because when Kushida was with Alex Shelley doing the Time Splitter stuff in New Japan, I was watching a bit more then, and I remember them winning the tag tournament they had then and winning the tag titles from the Hooligans or whatever their name was, and I remember Rocky Romero was in that, and it's been so long. That was like 2013, 12, 11, somewhere around there, but still, but even then, like, he was a great talent. It just kind of blended in. So I wish they would do more to kind of, make him feel more unique, I guess, is my kind of critique here.
Yeah, I kind of hope that, and as much as we all love The Way and everything that they've done, I kind of hope with that switch we were just talking about that Gargano does come out by himself, because if he's not out there with Austin Theory, it negates the possibility of Loomis getting in there, and, Loomis comes in and joins the situation because we can't have nice things. Gargano's going to win, like... it is what it is. As much as I have nice things to say about Kushida, I don't think he's winning.
Yeah.
Now,
I definitely see Johnny Gargano retaining. I don't see him losing. Now, does he beat Kushida straight up? No, I think, like you said, there will be something to happen, some ifs, ands, or buts that will occur.
See, if there's going to be shenanigans, and I don't know why I'm drawing this distinction. If there's going to be shenanigans, I want him to do some shenanigans, not have somebody else come in and do shenanigans for him. Like, I would rather he gets sick of the match and, like, gives him a dick kick out of frustration or something like that, rather than
I would rather see that too. And then he goes ahead and is able to,
because if there's a Theory run in, there's going to be a Loomis run in, and that's not Takeover. Loomis is not Takeover. Loomis is okay for a weird match at an elevated episode of NXT. That's where he gets to stay. I said it again. At this point in
time, it's just not something that's great. So.
Again, I'm going to pinpoint back to my review last night. I will put my hand up in the air and say there's a lot of weird shit in wrestling that I get most people don't like, and I do, and vice versa. There's a lot of things that other people like wrestling in orange juice. That's not my cup of tea. No. But I can see somebody else getting a laugh out of it. I am literally putting out a request to anybody listening to me right now. If you are super into Dexter Loomis, get in my comment section and tell me why.
Yeah, please tweet, comment, explain it, because there's parts of him that I
maybe
do like.
There's a perspective.
There's
that we don't
things
know,
about him that I get, that I do see why people would enjoy, but
see, I'm not there. I'm all the way open for somebody to give me a perspective that I haven't noticed, but it's not there for me. You know what is there for me though? Look at that transition. NXT Women's Championship Triple Threat match. Now, what I've said, you said in one of the previous matches that you're really, really okay either way. Here's my problem with this match. There's the champion that I really like, the challenger that I want to win, and the other challenger that I wouldn't mind winning in the slightest.
Yeah,
so what the hell do I do with this match?
You're not alone here, but...
I mean, Io Shirai's an awesome champion, but I'm behind Toni Storm and her nice ass. And Mercedes is solid as hell, so...
Again, I might get some heat for this, but I like Io Shirai. I do. She's an amazing wrestler. I'm tired of her being champion. I don't think that's an unfair statement. One of the things that I've never been crazy about with NXT all the time is it feels like their women's title has to be held for years at a time, most often.
I think she does fall into a little bit of what you were saying about Kushida, though. Like, they just have her there as champion and build challengers for her.
Yes, they build challengers for her to face, and then she topples very, very quickly, it feels like, each time. She's single-handedly defeated just about everybody, and they made sure to, put an exclamation point on that with the War Games match, so...
See, the problem is with them is, like, we talk about the Charlotte experiment a lot, and we know the Charlotte experiment didn't work, but we know what they think of Charlotte, and they hold Charlotte in high regard, and I think they should hold Charlotte in high regard. So
absolutely.
Now you're looking at Io Shirai, and Io Shirai has the prestige of being the one that beat Charlotte for that championship. So I think that has given it longevity because it has to. Like... you don't want a whole bunch of people beating Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar is the one that beat Undertaker's streak. It doesn't necessarily mean that you like Brock Lesnar. It's just you want that to mean something. I think that's what they're doing with Shirai a little bit, but I think they spend a lot of time finding challengers for her and not doing much with her. It's very much the Hikaru Shida situation.
Oh, no doubt. And the thing is, though, unfortunately, they try, but... Like you said, one, they build challenges around her, so this way she has somebody to face. And at certain points, that does work, that is effective, and it does lead to something entertaining. But other times, it's like, all right, we just know that this person is here to get beat, and that's it, and then we're going to move on, and the next person gets beat, and okay. Plus, Io Shirai, she won the title, but she didn't get to actually beat Charlotte. That's why I was... at one point in time thinking, well, maybe Io Shirai moves up. She's the one to go ahead. Charlotte beats Asuka for the title, which I think will happen soon. And then Io Shirai takes the title for herself from Charlotte at Mania. That could have been a, really compelling story. But
see, the only thing appealing about that to me is that's going to lead to a series of matches between Shirai and Asuka. After that, what do you do with her?
Well, what do you do with that's been their problem with pretty much every female from NXT, that they bring up. Because they book them very, very, very strong as champions, and then they move them up to the main roster, and no one knows what to do with them because they can't keep them that strong. Shayna Baszler was a 2-year champion, a house of fire, destroying everybody, finally gets beat, like, almost, on a fluke, essentially, because it was just such an epic moment for Rhea Ripley. Obviously, it was a well-deserved victory, but holy cow, did it take a lot to get there, right?
Right.
It wasn't a instant success, so she really had to earn that victory. It took years and a lot to accomplish. Point being, they always focus on the one female, and they make her super, super strong. You look at how Asuka was booked. She had to relinquish the title. You look at how Shayna was booked. You look at how even Bayley was booked for a while before that. They did the same. Ember Moon, they really make their women's champion, infallible, like totally understandable.
And everybody else exists around them.
Yeah, and then they move
how you get around that
roster.
You know how you get around that?
Destroyed.
If only there was a second women's title on NXT.
Well, guess what's going to be discussed very, very soon.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think Shirai drops it. I really don't. I think Io Shirai and Mercedes Martinez combined are going to do everything they can to make Toni Storm look awesome in this match. Mercedes Martinez strikes me as the type of person that's there to elevate as well as succeed on her own. And Shirai had that match with my girl Shotzi when she was brand new to NXT and still sort of on shaky legs and made her look like $1 million.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what I think about Shotzi to begin with, but a big part of that goes to Shirai in that match. I want to see them fight again now that they've elevated Shotzi a little bit and they're more on an even keel. But I think the combined, I hate to say it because it sounds cliche, but the combined ring generalship of Mercedes Martinez and Io Shirai is going to be no end of benefit to Toni Storm. But I do think Io Shirai walks out with the belt.
I keep going back and forth. I don't see Mercedes winning this. She's the bottom, low man on the totem pole for me. In this, not that I couldn't, see her as champion, just not at this point.
I don't think it's on the cards. I think I said this a while ago. I think she's sort of going to be there and lend her expertise and be a better version of what Natty is on the main roster. And that's not a slight on Natalya. We know Natalya's great. She just needs to get away from the cats and the farting. It's fine.
Yeah, no doubt.
But you know what I mean, though? Like, she's going to be a mechanic in there that's going to, like... Oh, there's a cliche. She's the mechanic that's going to tune up the whole division. Jesus Christ. I hope that does not come out as cheesy as I mean it, because I mean it in, like, the utmost respect.
No, but I get what you're saying. You know, it makes sense to me.
But anyways, I don't think they're making a big move in that division. I don't think we lose Io Shirai just yet, because I don't think there's any way that Triple H is going to lose Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley in the same month.
I don't think he'd do that to himself. And on top of it, I agree with you there, but I think the real feud for this is Tony and Io. So I think we'll get a singles match next out of these two.
Yeah. They're not doing a TakeOver WrestleMania weekend because it is 2 nights, but I'm sure they'll be doing something either before or after. Well, that's why I said they're discussing
now going and bringing WWE NXT into WrestleMania possibly. So that would be ideal as well.
That would be cool in small doses. I don't want there to be an entire NXT section of the card, because then it just seems like something was shoved in. That's why I liked the Charlotte experiment last year. It's like, okay, this was big enough that we picked it up out of NXT and put it on the big stage. If the Edge thing happened this year, that would be one big thing that we picked up and dropped it into WrestleMania. If they do the tag team thing, that's one thing that they picked up and brought the Dusty Prestige over and saved the tag team titles. I don't think... Like, right now, you've got an entire Raw section of the WrestleMania and an entire SmackDown section of the WrestleMania. I don't think you need to have... As much as I want NXT to be represented, don't get me wrong, I don't think you need an entire NXT section of WrestleMania, because keep in mind, next year we go back to it being one night.
Yeah.
And that'll be a 10-hour show.
Exactly.
Everybody will go on piss breaks until the NXT matches come on. They have to change the ring mat to a black ring mat. The ropes are yellow now. It's fine. Everybody's fine. It's fine.
It's okay.
Simplest thing for me to say ever, because I know you got to go soon. Finn Balor and Pete Dunne are going to kick the shit out of each other, and Finn Balor's going to win, and Edge is going to do something.
I as much as I'm excited to see the possibility of Roman and Edge face off, like, that would be great.
There's way too many other good options on SmackDown for Roman Reigns.
Like, the more I keep thinking about it, but the story is just so... I can't see them not going with Edge and Roman at this point, unfortunately. Like, I could be wrong, but it just seems like that's what they're doing. Honestly, it feels that way anyhow.
It boggles my mind as a decision, though, man. It really does.
It does. No
because,
doubt.
like, I want it to be NXT, because that would give NXT some shine at WrestleMania, considering there's no takeover there, right? But even if we want to scoop this into a Raw and SmackDown conversation for 2 seconds, there's a bunch of intriguing options for Roman. Like, Jimmy could come back. We could finally push Cesaro or Nakamura. We could get Daniel Bryan in there. Kevin Owens one more time wouldn't hurt my feelings personally.
We're getting Kevin Owens one more time, definitely. But...
Right. We could randomly pull Samoa Joe off the desk. Like, there's options for Roman. Who the hell is there for Drew?
There's no one for Drew. They could have had Sheamus, but I feel like they fucked that up. So they really ruined that.
What I would like to see, and again, it's just totally, get somebody there for a night and bring them right back. If Edge chose Finn Balor, and then NXT and SmackDown NXT and Raw talk to each other because they're both USA shows. So, okay, yeah. Raw sits there and says, well, what's our champion going to do? And NXT says, well, we're sort of stealing Edge from Raw. We'll give you somebody from NXT, and then you get Drew McIntyre versus, like, Karrion Kross. Almost as an exhibition type thing.
You can make it for the title. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't think... I wouldn't want him to win, though, because I want to keep Karrion Kross on NXT.
Well, no. You could beat Karrion Kross, but do it in a way that
yeah.
I could book that 1,000 ways over and have Karrion actually look like not one of those look good in defeat. Like really, we could make that something special. You know it as well as I do.
at the very last second, he gets a bro kick from Sheamus in the rampway, and then they need a replacement right away. So then you get Drew and Sheamus at WrestleMania, and it's a repeat of the Daniel Bryan thing. Kicks his head off in 18 seconds.
Yeah, Drew leans in to kiss Daniel Bryan.
The Lex Man's down there in Texas eating his gun all over again. It's fine. I'm an asshole.
Not the clowns, mommy.
Oh God. That got real dark, real quick. We turn Whoopi upside down and we mop the floor. Anyways, it's Friday. It's February. It's a lot of things. It is a good show, even though there's a whole lot of stuff that we're iffy about right now and a whole lot of stuff to look forward to next week on the regular weekly show.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure we'll have something to say about it after the fact. There's the what do you call it? There's the Impact show on Saturday as well. So
on
we got
Saturday.
two back-to-back nights of wrestling, so that's interesting enough. I might actually watch it.
Yeah, I'm considering checking it out anyways.
Yeah, I'm not watching Impact week to week, but I am.
No. I will check it out after it's done live. I can't do it live either. I can't support them like that anymore.
Well, I can't handle Twitch, man. Like, because I'm not a gamer. I might as well get it.
I'm a gamer. I only like the YouTube platform. I'm such a bitch. I really am. Like, Spotify will have podcasts come out a few days ahead of time, and I will find either somebody will re-upload it to the non-official channel, and I'll watch it that way, or I'll wait for it to come to YouTube. Just because I don't like Spotify, I don't like I like the YouTube platform. I YouTube Plus, having that, or Red, whatever it is, I like being able to lock my phone, walk around with my headphones, and be able to stream in the background. So
you totally ruined my joke. I was about to say I might as well have a WWE contract for how much I use Twitch.
Oh.
No, but it's about as much as it's about as much as I can say for Impact, though. Is just like I've heard of a couple of weird. They've got this weird triple threat gauntlet thing going on that I'm sure will be interesting. Their X division
is an amalgamation of shit. It looks like, but it could be entertaining. That's the thing with Impact.
It's a shit pile. It's a shit pile. Yes. Somebody got shot on their show. It's fine.
In a wedding,
Anyways, before we ramble ourselves into oblivion, why don't you tell people where to find you?
You can find me in Spaz's house. You forgot to lock the door. No, you can find me on Twitter at CountdownEnded. That's right. And you can find me on the Joe Cronin Show. I am there after every Raw and AEW show. We go live. Sometimes after SmackDown, not that often anymore, though. But we'll also be there Sunday for the NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day review. So you can find us there on youtube.com/Joe Cronin Show.
All right, and you guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. He's been Jake. We have been your NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day reality check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, me and Big Sexy Jake DeMarco are tagging out. Bye, guys.
Hit the like button.